I'm a bit of an optimist, actually. I think actually running a business is very challenging, but it could be way more. And one of the things I've realised is I have some friends that are way more clever than me, intellectually in every way. And one of my friend's wife, for instance, I think she's a bit of a genius. And I've said to her once or twice, you're so smart. Why don't you go and run a business? Build a business. No way, she said. I'd never sleep at night. I could imagine every single risk. Now, when you're not so smart, you don't actually realise how many risks there are. So actually, the super smart people are tied up in probably universities and government jobs where they feel safe. And people who are like me, who are not quite so smart and way too optimistic, just go out there and do it. And when the obstacles come along, then you're agile enough to go over the top or underneath or around the side and ask other people for help and work your way out and around things. I realised it was going to be challenging. I realised I didn't have all the answers, but I'd also had a long education, and I had been to not only university here but London Business School in the UK. I'd been to INSEAD, which is one of the best business schools in Europe. I'd been to Harvard University in America. And when I went there, not only was I interested in what they were telling me, but I was very interested in how they went about running their business as I saw it, because I had a business background. So I was thinking, how do Harvard run this thing? What is special about Harvard professors? Are they any better than the ones at University of Auckland? And what is their processes and how they're marketing themselves and how they're attracting clients and participants? So I guess when I came to startup ISL, I was in my late 40s, and I was able to draw on my own CEO career in New Zealand and the UK. I was able to draw on my educational experience, and I was able to triangulate and integrate what I thought was the best aspects of London Business School, Harvard, INSEAD and Otago University, which there were some special things there too. So I picked out the best aspects and I weaved them together in a way that I thought would be special. So what I wanted to do was to have sort of the rigorous academic aspects sitting underneath the bonnet. I wanted it to be, that the letter you got was just as good as if you got one from, Elizabeth the Queen from Buckingham Palace. But I didn't want it to be pretentious like Buckingham Palace or the Ritz. I wanted to do it in a New World modern version, but with the same standards. So one of the key things was actually choosing the campus. And I just mentioned a minute or so ago about the importance of architecture. So if you go to Harvard or Oxford University, those campuses are pretty amazing, very special. And we don't have castles here. That's not the sort of country we have, but we have some beautiful places. And the one that I chose was Millbrook, which is in central Otago, Arrow Town near Queenstown. And you can see the beauty of it. Each season of the year is very different. Here it is in autumn with autumn leaves. When you go there, it's a hugely reflective place. You're away from your family. You've given up your identity. We don't know your qualifications. We don't even know your surname. We just know you as another person. So it's safe to be yourself, and you're in a hugely reflective place. So you couldn't do the ISL Strategic Leadership Program in Queen Street in a hotel or George Street in London, in Sydney. It has to be in a very reflective place because this leadership's about getting to know yourself and you need to reflect. And it's almost a spiritual experience to be down there amongst the mountains and you start reflecting automatically about your life, your journey, your relationships, your family, all sorts of things happen. So part of the magic is not the office in Auckland, where the alumni functions happen and the administration, but it's actually, this was one of the key things. So people actually, over the years, more often than not, they didn't say I went on the ISL program, they said I went to Millbrook. which was like saying I went to Oxford or I went to Harvard. And early along the way, we had an advertising agency, and they helped with our positioning. So they came up with these cards, and it was green marbled, like in an old boardroom or something, and it had gold, old-fashioned, and it said, if you've been to Harvard, you might be ready for Millbrook. That was positioning. This is a step up. You know, nothing wrong with Harvard. It's one of the best places in the world, but this is up and beyond that, in another dimension altogether, another world. And people will tell you that. They gave us testimonials along the way to say they'd been to Stanford and so on. They were absolutely fantastic, but this was a life changer. And the life changer wasn't about getting a lecture. It was discovering yourself through a process in a really beautiful, reflective place. So that's a little bit about how we developed the ISL brand, the trusted brand, the perceptions that people have of us. And we haven't changed radically over the years. Our font's still the same as it ever was. Yeah, you can see we had Lindsay, who worked for us for 15 years. He started off taking photographs, actually, and then he ended up working for us full-time, doing all the event management, logistics. And so he did beautiful photos, and these are the photos of Millbrook, you know, at changing context of leadership. Here's the classroom in winter with snow all around. So it didn't matter what sort of season of the year. Here we are here, no snow. Yeah, just beautiful, reflective. These are the elements that people who came on the program, it really got them thinking. It really made them think about life themselves, their families. Yeah, just absolute beauty. Harvard and Oxford can't compete with this. So I guess if you went on a program at Oxford or INSEAD or one of these places, courses that they run are run by academics who will be telling people a lot about all the research, probably their own research that they have done. It's been published in the best academic journals. So that's all about the theory, you know, of leadership, and that has a place. But the difference between what they do and what we do is ours is experiential, action-based learning. What happens on our programs is that there are 20 or 25 people on the program, grouped into 4 or 5 groups of 5 that become teams. And so if I was to go along as a participant on this program, I would arrive there knowing nobody. I would be put on a round table, so we're all equal around this table, and I'd meet people who I know nothing about, but I would learn very quickly that, by goodness, these people are rather amazing. And then I would look out the window and I think, my God, I'm in the most amazing place. And it would make me very reflective. I would have my own coach for me personally on this program for the whole week. And there is no program in the world that I'm aware of that you may have a coach on a program, but for an afternoon, but you won't have one that's there all week long. A coach not just for me, but my team. So if there's 25 people, that's 5 syndicates, that's 5 coaches, another 3 lifestyle coaches. There's almost half the room is actually ISL faculty, and they're there to help people reflect and to learn about themselves. But most importantly, a very significant amount of the learning comes not from any professor or researcher or expert, but it comes from the other 4 people plus the coach, where I get to see myself through the mirror and the lens of the others, and they're not in competition with me. By certainly midweek, I've become hugely trustful of them. I feel very safe. By the end of the week, I'll come away with some gold nuggets about myself that I never knew before. And that's why our alumnus have stepped up on many occasions to the highest level. Not through the theory, but their syndicate telling them, this is what we really value about you. And you didn't realise, the things that you think they're going to value about, they don't value at all. Actually, it's the things that you don't even know about that they value. And once you get that, that's a big eye-opener. And then they might say, look, we want to give you a gift. And they might reflect that, symbolically in some way, so you will never forget. One particular example is somebody who told me a year or two ago that he has a rope that he has on the wall in his office, and it's to remind me to pull other people up, not to get too far ahead of everyone else, to take them with me. So the gift that you get can be a life changer, something that you didn't know, and they might also give you a sense of what they want to see more from you, less from you, start doing and stop doing. So how does it compare to a university experience? Yes, there's concepts and theory behind it, but it's not a lecture and it's not an assignment. It's learning in a action-based setting.